Simbora ver a Cilinha 2.0? O que houve com ele?
Oh, hello, Smite fans. Didn't see you there. I am Titan.
Nos ouvidos, porra. Eco. Isso aqui é o Havana.
Update show. That's right. It's Charybdis time. How are y'all two doing today?
O John Fitch faleceu. Isso que houve com ele.
Are we good?
I'm muted. Hold on. It's my fault. Okay, I think I got it good.
Awesome.
Hello, Dandy. Thank you for welcoming me onto the show. I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome.
Ele é
Well,
áudio.
we have a very exciting show ahead of us today with so much to cover. So we're going to kind of dive right in. We have, obviously, the update show. We have 8.7's bonus updates, part 2, since this has been a 6-week update. We have some skins to go over, a brand new Odyssey event we're releasing.
Odisseia. Odisseia do Cthulhu.
But either way, let's dive right in. We have the 8R7, the update 8.7, week 5, bonus 2. That's just skins this time. There's no balance with this one, right? So this is just... Since this is
Só
the second
skins
update
agora.
in this really long update we've had.
We've already had a bonus balance. But
Yeah.
what about a second bonus?
É um update bônus que só vai ter skin, viu?
We're bringing in some new skins, starting with some Court of Midnight stuff. So Morgan Le Fay just continues to bring things to the battlefield.
Começando por aquele evento novo da Morgana. Havana Furry.
This one's really cool. I've been excited about it.
Ronald Gamer, que a pessoa falou.
Yeah.
And it's been a little bit since Robin's had a skin, so...
Havaninha Furry. Furries, apareçam.
I'm afraid. Oh, yep, I'm afraid. I was about to say I'm afraid of getting punched by a bear, and then I saw it and was right. So, wow, that
I hear they punch hard.
Awesome. Yeah, looking at it, it looks like he would. Plus, ice fangs,
claws
I
are
guess.
brutal.
Yeah, fangs, claws. Ooh, that looks so good. Yeah, that looks awesome.
Ficou da hora.
Yeah, I love the title.
Eu tô enjoado já da skin que ele tem. Ficou da hora até.
Both chose this skin for testing, and I had to play against Ponpon's Robin, and I got rocked. And so I'm just already deeply ingrained.
You're put on ice.
To fear
Yeah.
this skin. Yes, I was.
Couldn't blame you. Here, let's see what the voice line sounds like.
Ainda bem que não colocaram aquele cara gostoso representando que neste...
Ah, voz de arroto não, cara.
I
Got a
get
bit of an
bear
accent
witness.
while also being a bear. Oh, and we got
Yeah.
the pun in there. That's just all of the boxes for a higher
Oh
rank
yeah,
skin.
we're checking them all and getting punched by them all probably. So next up, this one is the one I'm super excited about. We have confectionery Capri. Let's see that.
Ah, é o Capri sorvete, não é?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, o Capri sorvete.
Oh, there it is.
The
That's
hug
the
bug.
tastiest skin.
Dá pra fazer um time full agora de
All the other
docinhos.
candy skins are making, they're greeting him, welcoming him into the club.
Yeah.
Eu não curto esse tema.
Kirby, he's huge.
Eu pessoalmente não gosto desse tema de
Yeah,
doce.
very much so. And wow,
That's
look
okay.
at them in game. So what's cool about this is that this is a community concept skin actually
Respiração
provided to us by
automática
Jade
desligada.
Rabbit. So thank you so much. This is insanely awesome looking. And
Me dá diabetes só de olhar, tá ligado?
look at the sprinkles.
I love it.
Ficou
Sprinkles.
bonitinho, mas não é um tema que eu gosto pessoalmente.
Left shoulder. What is
It's like a
It's
like a cake and some cookies and stuff, like a
sundae
smiley
or-
face. Yeah, it's like a
Is it like
Here,
a
let's-
little? It's like a little cute duck that's edible.
yeah, like made of candy.
Oh my
Let's see what
gosh.
the voice line sounds like.
We're gonna have such a wonderful day filled with sweetness and love.
Yeah, well,
That feels like Kepri.
Yeah.
yeah, that feels like sweetness and love. I feel
He's just
pretty
such a
sweet.
wholesome character. He saves your life. That's all he does.
yeah, with sweetness and sprinkles and cherries and stuff.
Para de girar, velho. Tô ficando
Yeah,
tonto
so
já,
these are
pelo amor de
all
Deus.
the, Court of
Para de
Midnight,
girar,
the two
para,
skins
para.
coming in the Court of Midnight. And there's a whole lot
Tô
more
tonto.
too. If y'all guys haven't gotten into the Court of Midnight yet, y'all should definitely check it out. There are all kinds of cool things that you can get, all kinds of amazing skins, and so if you
Ó,
haven't gotten into it
quem
yet,
já comprou o
definitely
evento já
check it out.
libera
Skins,
automaticamente
and,
essas duas skins, o
yeah,
Capri e o
every skin
Havana.
has been amazing. Like I love Morgan Le Fay's first skin personally, so. But it's a super cool event.
Eu acho que é a última skin do
Next
evento, não é?
up, we have-
Eu tô louco.
Yeah, right. Next up, we have the Space Crusader chest. This is another new chest.
Space Crusader chest, baú.
For the week 5 bonus update, and this is coming with the Solar Navigator Sobek skin. Let's
Navigator
I'm really
Sobek.
excited for this skin. That name.
Ah, é o Sobek astronauta? Da hora, da hora. O carro está
I'll
legal.
have you know. I had to
O carro está bem
practice that,
legal.
like, I keep wanting to say gator and like miss the pun. So
Navigator.
This was amazing, and you can even see that little. There was a little like rocket gator in the
Ah, ficou
background.
legal pra caralho,
His
gostei.
ultimate, which kind of swim around him.
Mano, ele vai dar o dash e vai ativar o foguete,
This is
certeza.
like a very new,
Ele dá o dash e
interesting
ativa o
theme,
foguete,
imagining a
certeza.
whole new, like sci-fi,
Da hora, gostei.
stylized universe, not quite cartoony, but you could possibly
Ah,
consider
ele
him
tem
a
uma perna
rival
que não
or
é...
ally
É mecânica,
of
olha.
we did a few months back.
Um pé de cabra no lugar da
Just
perna.
love the absolute detail on his armor and that face, like that alligator,
yeah.
the way it's
Da hora,
sculpted,
da hora.
The art team really went amazing above and beyond on this one. And this is also one of my favorite gods. This is an Ajax skin patch, this bonus patch. Capri and Sobek in one update.
Tá muito alto o áudio dele, tá de boa, rapaziada.
Let's see what he sounds like. Let's hear the voice line.
Ele ficou mais... cartoon ao rosto dele também, né? Não tá tão crocodilão.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he's
well.
a bad guy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Peixonauta?
Yeah, with how good he looks though, we'll forgive him for that until he throws me. But so yeah, that's actually the last of the skins. So those are the skins coming with the 8.7 week 5 update that releases August 10th. So keep your eye out.
10 de
for that.
agosto?
Be a ton of cool
Que dia que é
content. Make sure
hoje?
you get in Court of Midnight.
Ah,
And
semana
check
que vem
out
já chega,
this
essas
week's
skins.
contest with the Navigator.
Navigator.
Let's get into some community news. A lot of community news.
Novidades da
and
comunidade.
a full update show on this. First up, we have a 2x Worshippers Weekend coming up this weekend.
Novidade, né?
And it's
Duas
going
vezes
all the way
Worshipper.
through Monday.
Novidade,
So
né?
If y'all have a great weekend and you're like, oh, Monday again, don't worry about it. Just hop on some Smite that night and still earn 2x the Worshippers Monday after the day's over. So that'll be really cool. After that, we also have the Twitch Prime, the Prime Gaming skin you can still claim is Gummy Worm Medusa. You might have seen her in the confectionery.
Skin do
temporary
Prime.
card art. Looking good. Rockin' and
Ó,
rollin'.
quem pegar a skin do Prime, não se esquece de dar o sub Prime aqui no canal, hein?
Let's talk merch news.
Não esquece.
Merch news for those of y'all that might not have seen it on Twitter. The Maxnomic chairs, the cool Smite chairs that I don't own but wish I did, are available in the EU now. Yeah, there it is right there.
As cadeiras, elas são muito caras, não compensa.
My wallet gets mad at me. But yeah, those
So
are
does this mean,
available for
Hindu?
purchase.
Do you not have to advertise these instead of
Elas são bem bonitas, mas pra BR não compensa. Dá mais de R$2.000, fora o frete lá do NA.
Content later. Pon, thank you for providing.
Ela é bonita, só que ela é muito cara mesmo.
So definitely, I hope that you steal it. Wink, wink. But yeah, so make sure you check that out. It's available to you now. I know it's been available to me forever. I still
Você ganha uma ward dela também, da cadeira. Fica girando.
Next up, this is really exciting. We have the For Fans by Fans contest coming back. That's right. With the launch of the Odyssey, we're actually opening back up the fan art contest. It actually comes up today, and we're taking submissions through September 6th.
Vai ter
You haven't got a bit of time,
um torneio não, né? Vocês podem mandar suas artes pra eles e vocês vão ganhar alguma coisa.
This is where you can submit for merch ideas.
Lins Rafael, obrigado pelo seu sub com Prime. De primeira vez aí, muito bem-vindo, tamo junto.
The community and Titan Forge team are actually going to vote on our favorites.
Como é que é contest em português? É um concurso. É um concurso de arte, de fanart. Então quem é desenhista,
That sounds pretty good.
entra aí no concurso.
Plus, I love seeing all the art, so make sure to keep throwing that at us. I'm so excited to
Submissions
see it.
have been amazing the last times we've done this.
Oh, so amazing. I hit up the merch store like constantly, so Smite is a real hole in my wallet. So the next thing we're going to talk about is just a call out to Stranger Things. Shout out, the Battle Pass is still going strong. There's still a lot of fun left with that.
Ok, o passo continua, obviamente.
Get in the Upside Down Arena, grind through some of those Battle Pass
Americanizado.
levels to unlock all the awesome skins. I know I've been like maining Apollo now because of the Hopper PI skin.
E Leonardo, tudo bom?
Yeah, it's going to continue through September 20th, which seems far away until you realize.
Vamos ver agora a nova deusa, o Leonardo.
It's gone really fast. So make sure y'all are still checking out that content and really throwing it down in the Upside Down Arena or up. I guess I'm not sure how the rules work.
Good one.
Awesome. So a lot of good things, and what's next is continuing. It just gets more exciting through the show. We have the calendar event coming, the Bacchanalia calendar event, and that's a big word.
Bacanilha?
Familiar.
É
Sound a
Odisseia?
little familiar. It sounds like I'm probably just making this up, but it's Roman themed this time. Bacchanalia is a huge celebration based off of some god.
É um tema de Roma.
And the way it works is you play one game each day and earn awesome awards. Like, what
Você
could be better
joga,
than that?
você joga
Play
um
the
jogo
game,
por dia
get cool
e ganha
stuff.
prêmios de
Sounds good
graça.
straight to me. And that comes with a ton of community cosmetics. And those are actually community submitted fan art. People submit stuff to us.
Ah, é ícones, coisinhas de graça.
Six community pieces.
Olha esse Suzaninho, velho.
One from Bunrear on Instagram.
Ai, que bonitinho. Ai, meu Deus.
Looks properly grumpy.
O
We
Lezinho.
have the awesome Frostfire one from Sly Blue from Pixiv, looking super great. I love the the frost.
Suzano de tetinha, by the way.
Itself, huh?
Suzano de tetinha.
One from Observant Bunny on Instagram, which is the Arachne one, and I mean, look at Arachne.
Jump Stamp, aquele negócio de pulo.
Yeah, I love the web heart too. And we also have, I'm gonna say this one wrong, but Cheezelth C from Twitter submitted the jelly one, and that's from the Discord.
Jump Stamp, aquele que você pula e fica no chão.
Oh, yeah.
Jelly buddy.
Right.
Yeah,
It looks inspired from that, yeah.
it's super adorable. The face makes me so, I'm gonna get killed because I'm gonna stop and be like, oh, look at it. And then finally we have two global emotes, one from Ichigimi on Instagram,
Aí, ó, o
Spellbound
Lezinho.
one with the good luck, have fun, and that's just too adorable.
Acho que é multiglobal, não vi direito.
And from Deacon Zarathos on Instagram, we have the Pixel Collie, which looks violent.
Acho que são dois emotes globais, dois Jump Stamps e dois ícones.
Right?
Acho que essa que é a pira.
One more big reward, right?
You know, I
Vai
think
ter skin,
there
hein?
is. I think I remember.
Vai ter
It's called
skinzinha, hein?
Bacchanalia, because Classic Bacchus is back. That's what it is.
Vai dar o Bacchus
Look at
clássico, velho. Aí sim, porra. O Bacchus de verdade. Pog
So
demais.
if you participate throughout the entire calendar event,
Pog
you can get
demais,
Classic
mano.
Bacchus for free. And that's
Brabo,
pretty
brabo.
better than that.
O Bacchus verdadeiro, que tá nos nossos corações. Esse é o verdadeiro.
So after the event, if you
O
didn't
Bacchus
happen to claim
gordão,
it, you can still pick him
sujo.
up for classic skin pricing. He will go on sale, but you know, you can also
Do
just
sovaco
participate
preto.
for the entire event and have this all to yourself. And again, who wouldn't want that? Look at him. So yeah, and that about covers it.
We
for
did
community
it.
news.
Brought back classic Bacchus.
We did. You'll have to let us know
Much
how excited
requested
you are
feature.
about it. Yeah, have we peaked? I hate to say we've peaked, but it's pretty high up there. So with all of that community news out of the way, it's time to get into some nitty-gritty stuff. Let's talk balance. We're into balance now. So,
Balanceamento.
looks like the first couple things are actually are these support item buffs? Or yeah, buffs. Let's get into that. Ajax.
Buffs e item de suporte.
So this balance is a pretty big one because of the extra weeks in this update. Because
Subi
we're
minha
not doing
câmera aqui.
that extra round of bonus balance. So there's a lot of nerfs and buffs in this update, and it's a pretty big one because we had a huge update with mid-season, so a lot of changes, a lot of data to be.
A War Flag vai custar 1.250 a evoluída.
War Flag buff, but the actual
Bem barato, hein?
buff is
É
being
1.500 o
applied
preço
to
dela?
War Flag, Sentinel's Gift, and Benevolence. All of those are being reduced in their upgrade price to make sure that those support players can get that
Todos
upgrade
os suportes estão sendo
as soon as
bufados.
they can when they level up at level 17. So
Mas pera,
it made sense, right, Pon?
a animosidade tá mais barato também?
Upgraded supports items, so we also wanted to make it.
Porque a animosidade mais barato não me acho interessante. Não é interessante.
Their gold to their teammates.
Yes. And also, we've been really carefully watching how the mid-season really changed the pacing.
Eles têm que remover a animosidade do jogo. Pelo amor de Deus, tem que remover. Item ridículo, não faz sentido aquele item existir.
To be able to upgrade it with their teammates. That's why it was lowered to level 17, and that's why making this change so they're separate from all the other starter items.
As somebody that loves playing the support role, I am super excited about that.
Remove do jogo a animosidade.
So the next thing, looks like Charon's coin is getting a nerf to its magical power and its alt form.
Nerfaram de novo, caronga,
so
mano.
This is like the go-to mage staple right now. Provides power pet.
Porra, aí é chato, né?
There's also a bug fix on the base Charon's coin to affect its
Agora nem sei se vale a pena fazer esse item. Era 90, foi pra 80, agora 70?
version here.
Tanto evoluído quanto normal? Ah, é melhor fazer Obsidian do que fazer o Caronga, na moral. Ah, 10 de poder a menos é foda, velho.
Cool, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Next up, looks like a Frostbound hammer nerf.
Isso!
A little bit. Ajax,
Menos HP no Frostbound.
I mean,
Menos
Frostbound
slow.
Hammer is a controversial item, we'll say.
E menos slow de range. Amém. Esse item tava precisando. Tava precisando de nerf aí. Muito forte. Tava muito forte, Frostbound. Tava merecendo. Beloninha, Osiris, Gilgamesh. Tava merecendo. Justo. Justo.
Also, I love this balance note because it kind of reminds players that we actually do have a different movement speed slow for melee versus ranged. So if you're considering trying to use or potentially abuse this item with a ranged character, we've slightly de-incentivized you from that by giving you less stats. But overall, this item really strongly performing. Not something you see so much in the pro meta, but one that can be really a plague of the casual and ranked player bases. So a nice little nerf here to make sure that this item's not overbearing.
Chat dividido em main solos e o resto, tipo isso.
Next on the list, we have Jade Emperor's Crown getting a buff. Looks like the physical power reduction. How about that one, Pawn?
Agora vai tirar 25 de poder físico. Ok. Não sei se vai ser picado. Talvez seja mais picado.
Which is really effective, especially when you're fighting like high attack speed, low power builds. But it just wasn't quite efficient enough to really fit into that slot. So we're just bumping up that aura reduction, making it better at its job.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. So how about the Blackthorn Hammer? That's getting a buff as well.
Blackthorn é bufado? Ih, rapaz.
Another tank item. This one, you know, generally goes
Item que dá defesa e dá poder. Por que não, né? 40 de poder, 400 de vida. Aí é foda. Aí é foda, né? Mangá Angel TT. Obrigado pelo seu follow. Aí é foda, né?
But people did finally get it. And then we kind of swiftly nerfed it. So we're bringing this back just
e Blackthorn vai ficar forte, viu? 400 de HP é muito forte.
Before it was not very popular. This item I still think is extremely stat efficient, although people sometimes struggle to find the right slot.
Guanyu, Shaq. Altos bonecos vão ser bom com ele. Runa Sagaz, obrigado pelo seu follow também.
Yeah, gotta find that niche spot that it fits in and then really like fly with it. That's awesome. So moving on, away from the tanks, we have the Staff of Mirrodin. And that increases its passive?
Yes, so the
melhorou.
rework came out in 8.7.
Mirdin tá meio merda, ninguém usa esse item. Talvez agora usem.
We nerfed it in PTS.
Guts Mestre Deus, obrigado pro seu follow também.
Mainly in the fact that we made it the window where you can utilize this uncapped cooldown reduction. A very interesting stat. We made it so that you only had 4 seconds to play with it rather than the previous 7. And so we think that this item definitely deserves to have a bit more play with it. Definitely has more room for experimentation if we extend that duration. So we're bringing it to 6, not quite back to where it was on PTS. We still have a few other reverse that we could do to bring it back to PTS strength, but this is one of the more major.
Vai ficar melhor, obviamente. Mas não sei se vai compensar buildar ainda.
Uncapped cooldown reduction for longer, and it's also going to decay slower down to that 40%. So just more room to play with.
Ok.
More abilities to be thrown. Awesome. So next up,
tá vibrando o celular. É o Google esquizofrênico do caralho.
How's that working, Ajax?
This item, now you might initially look at this and be like, what, 15% pen? You can't do that.
Caralho!
This is basic attack penetration, so it doesn't.
Bufou de novo esse item, Dominense.
Pen cap, so doing a slightly more.
Agora o seu base dá 15% de penetração. Lembrando que o item em si tem 10% já. Ou seja, 25% de pen nos básicos. Com um item.
Because really dominance is intended to be the basic attack focus percent penetration item.
35? Não é 25, não? É 25, acho, por cento. Nossa senhora, mano. ADC como? Daquele jeito. No Anhu, meu Deus do céu, velho. Qualquer de básico fica forte. Até em jungler vai compensar comprar isso, na moral. 25% de pen no básico.
So next up, we have the Vampiric Shroud, and it's getting a nerf actually. We're
decreasing
magical power from that.
Ah.
And it became the go-to option.
I know.
Especially they really bought into it. The first week of play with it, we saw kind of 50-50, but everyone kind of jumped onto the Vampiric Shroud train. We think
não gostei não desse nerf. Não curti não. Morgan mid é meta? Ela é forte no mid.
I think this is still definitely the go-to if you're playing that more bruiser solo lane role. But for mid mages, you have a bit more play now to go either Sands of Time or Conduit Gem. which is going to get its own buff later on in this patch.
Vai buffar esses itens?
Love that situation.
A Sands of Time? E a Condition Gen?
Blood-soaked Shroud nerf, and that's getting some decreased health. How about that? And mana.
Então nerfando é os solos, não é nem os magos do mid, não, é os solos.
So this one's
meio troll, né?
Like a lower flat amount to a more percent-based health with works
Meio troll na moralzinha.
Tanky builds, and it was just providing too much efficiency when you went this. You could hit a wave with 2 abilities and get a quarter of your health back, a quarter of your mana back. It's pretty impactful, so we're just taking some of the edge off that. Still going to be really valuable, way more than the previous version of Bloodsoaked Shroud, but not...
É, tá melhor do que o antigo ainda, mas porra...
Shout out to the Shrouds. Next up, we have the Conduit Gem, and it's getting a buff with a little more magic power.
Mais poder? Por quê?
In there, always tweaking little amounts with these starter items, right? I know these look like small numbers, but they can make a big difference.
Item mal forte buffado? Pra quê, mano?
Where it's like,
o item mal bom já.
That's really popular, and we nerf it a little bit, and it doesn't just go down a little bit. It's like everyone jumps ship and starts buying this other one. So really, this is part of the Vamp Shroud, Conduit Gem, and Sands of Time.
Aí é foda, né?
Here, where we're trying to get these in a nice spot where people feel like
mano, Sila fica feliz.
Depending on your god or your playstyle, one might rise to the top. So along with that, we've already seen a lot of Sands of Time, so that one's kind of remaining. But then we're bringing down Vamp and up Conduit, trying to find that nice.
É melhor eu ficar aqui ou aqui? Não, aqui eu tampo a cara dele, né?
You know, starter splits, but we
aqui é melhor mesmo.
Always options that things are always shifting, and they have big impacts on the meta too. So these are really exciting changes.
Não precisava desse buff. Já era muito bom esse item. Ok, 5 de poder no early game.
Yeah, always good to see the players come out and be like, hey, maybe this one. So speaking of maybe this, Mannequin Scepter. This is getting a. It seems like there's a lot going on here. Pawn, explain.
Yeah, mannequin.
Yeah, so this is really just for feels changes. The basics of this, how this will work is at the start when you're jungling.
Se liga. Hoje em dia, cala a boca.
But sometimes like you can.
Cala a boca. Hoje em dia, o manequim funciona como? Se você matar um minion da jungle que está sendo queimado, você se cura. Agora, se você matar um minion da jungle que foi queimado recentemente pelo Mannequin Scepter, você vai receber a cura do mesmo jeito. Porque vamos supor que você bate no minion, ele pega o fogo do Mannequin Scepter e o efeito passa. Se você matar ele logo em seguida, você não ganha a cura. Agora você vai ganhar a cura mesmo de um segundinho depois. Foi um buff pra, tipo, ficar mais clean o item, basicamente. Um bom buff. É um buff. É um bom buff.
How's that looking, Ajax?
So this one we've been seeing less of, and really the main advantage to buying this item was to be able to buy boots with it. Now you can't do that, so it doesn't really have that main goal. Really what we want Boombas to be is the
aumentou o básico ataque esse que dá 25 e aumenta as skills em 30 para 35%. Por mim, não precisava buffar bombas. Inclusive, o hammer, o martelo, tem que ser nerfado. E a outra lança tem que ser modificada.
Well, don't you worry. The next balance points that Pon's going to walk us through. Pon, why don't you talk about both of those upgrades for us? We're buffing the Boomba's upgrades as well, and there's some very interesting stuff coming.
O martelo não. Não, mano. Eu sou jungler, eu não quero que buffe o martelo.
The next point is we've gotten feedback, especially from top-level junglers, where they feel like some of their upgrades, they often actually just sell the starter for another option instead. Erendite, especially with its high power.
Não buffa o martelo não, filho da puta. Já é roubado demais.
For a Boomba's hammer when you're not really looking for tanky stats. And so we're looking to shift them around to make sure that they feel good to upgrade into. And to also kind of carve out something that we didn't really do with these starters, which was if you're an assassin and you're a burst assassin, you want power, you want...
Voltou o cooldown para 20!
Options don't really exist. Mannequin's Hidden Blade does that.
Por quê?
But the Bumba's tree didn't really offer that at all.
So, amém. Esse
Bumba's hammer,
deste de penetração, aumentou o poder pra caralho. A passiva é a mesma. A passiva é meme. Mano, mas a Bombas... Fudeu, filho. Fudeu a Bombas.
Make up for that, it's getting 10% penetration, it's getting 10 more physical power, it's getting 15 more physical power, or magical power, and the buff from the jungle when you clear target, you get a 10%.
Mano, esse item que nego não entende, tipo assim, esse item aqui, o que ele faz? Depois que você mata inimigo na jungle, você ganha poder extra. Você não quer isso, você quer ter um poder constante, tá ligado? Não um buff com um item que depende de item, de jungle, pra você fightar. Aí você faz o buff, o nego recua e perdeu o buff, tá ligado? Se bem que é 30 segundos que dura agora, mas mesmo assim, não sei. Ah, bombas voltou a ser broken, o martelo.
I'm taking notes. I'm making new builds now. Next up, we have Protector of the Jungle. That's also getting a buff, actually.
O olhinho agora.
This one is a series of reverts from previous nerfs, and what we often like to do is when we see an item fall out of favor, we go back to someplace in between. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
Bufaram pra caralho o protetor da jungle, o upgrade da direita.
We're giving it a little bit more power.
Eles têm que modificar o da esquerda, que o da esquerda é uma merda. O da direita, esse aqui é bom, ficou melhor ainda. Mano, você ganha 15% de poder a mais dentro da jungle, velho. 15%. É muita coisa. E você ganha poder ainda, e defesa. Sem de poder mágico, a proteção mantém a mesma, 12%.
Awesome, yeah, and let's move forward with a Seer of the Jungle buff, too.
Muda esse item, pelo amor de Deus. Ah, passiva merda. Outra passiva merda, mano. Tá, aumentou o poder, ok. Mas esse bagulho de você mata um buff e ganha visão das wards, tá ligado? Você não quer matar buff, velho. Você quer matar os caras. Se bem que 20 segundos é um tempo bem bom pra você conseguir tirar as wards. Mas não compensa você fazer esse item quando o outro é muito melhor, tá ligado? Eles estão revertendo tudo dos outros pets, tá ligado? Não, mano. Aí é foda.
Getting a buff as well. Looks like a cost decrease and some basic attack power.
Yeah, so recently we adjusted the whole
bufa tudo, bufa tudo. Bufa tudo, bufa o rebuild de novo. Bufa todo mundo então, foda-se. Bufa item de jungle, de suporte, de solo, de ADC, bufa tudo. Foda-se. Mais barato, mais dano no ataque básico. Capivara Faminta, obrigado pelo seu follow.
I don't know, this starter item is really fun. I think it's really good. It's been one of my favorite ones throughout the year. And it made me sad to see it fall so out of favor. So hopefully this brings it back. I still think it has more of a specific role in a specific playstyle or specific gods. But yeah, because this one's risky when we see it everywhere. I think we would all agree with that. So just a nice little buff.
Hey, bufa Death Toll também. A badalada.
Can we get a shirt reveal? I think we need a shirt reveal. People are wanting.
Oh. Yeah, this is it's an astronaut holding up the globe. Just one of the shirts I have. It's like an Into the AM shirt, I think. Yeah. It's really comfy.
Into the AM. Like my shirt's Into the AM as well.
Mano, ele só usa a blusa da Materazo, velho. Rank, obrigado pelos 9 meses, mano. Tamo junto. Muito obrigado pelo apoio na live.
Salve Chito PT com esse novo God lançando, eu estou tendo pesadelos com o Endal no lançamento.
Dá pra falar do Viserion também. Nossa, esse aqui é roubado, velho. Esse... Mano, esse item aqui, você ganha stacks, ganha assist minion. Depois tá com full stack, cada vez que você acerta um inimigo como skill, você ganha 10 de gold. Isso conta com auto-ataque também. Mano, o suporte vai ficar farmado. Jormungand com isso aqui é roubado, viu? By the way.
Yeah. Right? That's like 2 handfuls at least. So next up we have Benevolence. It's getting kind of a shift. What's that looking like, Ajax?
Yeah.
Reduziu a experiência que você ganha e o gold.
Oi, lindo.
So we're decreasing the total amount of experience and gold.
Pera, cala a boca.
When you have Benevolence, you're just going to earn less. However, that is going to give a little bit more to the ally.
Você vai ganhar somente 85% de XP e gold das coisas que você mata, mas você passa esses 15% que faltando pro seu aliado. Então você vai dar mais coisa pros seus aliados. O suporte se foge, né? Dá mais coisa pro aliado, foda-se, ó. Dá pra ele, 15%. Vai ganhar 100 de gold? Não, você vai ganhar 85, vai dar 15 pro seu ADC.
Got it. Teamwork OP. You just gotta stay together. That's all there is to it. So next
Ok.
up, Animosity.
Isso,
Getting in there.
nerfa.
Looks like
Nerfa.
some increased damage proc. How
Nerfa mais, tira do jogo, item roubado.
Animosity is definitely an
O item não faz nem sentido existir esse item aqui, velho.
a few roles in very
Zedark, obrigado pelos 3 meses de sub com Prime, tamo junto, meu querido.
you really just rush at the end.
Ah,
It's
mano,
really
porra, aí é foda, né, mano?
This item is really meant
Tira do jogo, esse item é ridículo, mano. Não faz nem sentido esse item existir.
when it's viable on other roles and they're rushing this item, we've seen it be potentially a negative experience. We saw it very early on in the season.
A DC buildando isso, solo, tá ligado?
Taking it down from 4% to 3%, just making it, if you're gonna go for it, it's not gonna be quite as effective if you're going like a hunter trying to get some extra like chin size type damage. But if you want to play this for the memes, you still can.
Cool. I always love the memes. I love
Ah, Res. Quer jogar de meme? Continua usando.
Lion, it is getting a buff, so shout out Tank. What's that buff look like?
Oh, here we go. So I know that this will probably create a very long
Aí fica forte.
about this item, so we can't really
Bufaram a
touch on it.
Nemeia e agora cada bloco de defesa de ataque base tem que ser pelo menos 100.
Planning on doing that.
Fica
Whatever
forte,
we
hein?
feel about this item,
Fica forte, hein? 80 de defesa num item só.
so I think that
Fuck.
pros, Olympians, everyone has been in agreement that reflect damage was not a very fun mechanic and not a good way to counter each other on an item. However, we have had this item feel a little underwhelming lately, so we are reverting one of the specific things we did before, which is how easy it was to get the block stacks. Making that a little easier to get, lowering the total protections you need to get those multiple stacks. Remember, if you have more physical protections with this item, you can get more than one block stack. Also, just increasing the physical protection again. Block stacks can be really powerful. There's a lot of stuff you can do with them.
Não, fica forte. Você consegue ter 3 stacks, dá no máximo?
Like, are block stacks too easily
Full
countered?
defesa?
Are they
3
too hard to
stacks?
counter? I know there's a lot of high variance over it and a lot of discussion over this item, but we feel like just making sure that solos and supports have another physical.
Nemeia na Atena você fica com 6 básicos a menos que você
We know
leva
that's going to be good right now. We
com a
want
passiva
that.
full.
And especially in a high pen build, block stack with hunters are building very high pen right now. Block
Yeah.
stacks can be really good because it negates the whole attack, whereas building just protections only can negate part of that attack. So I do think this passive has a lot of merit and a lot of strength. Whether or not the community ever agrees with me on this one.
Não chega a 3? É só 2, será?
Hopefully this buff helps though.
And it's
And
also
already-
a bit healthier to like build in
Yeah.
this scenario too, because Shell doesn't provide block stacks anymore, so you don't have that whole like staggering shells to get
Mhm.
block stacks, and this filled the in-between gap. Now this is really the only way for you to like generate block stacks on your own if you're not a character that can do that already. So it's also probably a bit healthier now versus previously.
Yeah, and as a tank player, I love watching like the first 2 crits just roll right off. So feels
Yeah.
good. All right, so next up we have the Bulwark of Hope, also getting a buff.
Bulwark?
Let's get into that.
Yeah, this item I don't think is getting nerfed for a very,
Isso!
very, very long time, and that just
Long time.
even though like it has potential, it just never was quite there.
E o escudo agora é baseado no 15% do HP máximo de quem tá usando. Aqui era 150, mais 10 por nível. Então dava tipo 350 de shield. Ah, então não compensa se você buildar isso aqui num God de papel. Não papel. Não compensa buildar isso aqui num God que tem tipo pouco HP. Mas num God com muito HP, meu amigo, o escudo vai ser tipo... 80 de def, velho. Que isso?
Yeah, this
Pedra
was
de
one
Fall.
recently
Meu
reworked that
Deus!
hasn't really caught
Mais
on,
HP,
but
mais
we
defesa
wanted to
física,
see
mais
more
defesa mágica e mais
there.
porcentagem na passiva. Bons buffs, hein? M. Hashiri, obrigado pelo seu resub de 3 meses, tamo junto. Muito obrigado pelo seu apoio na live, tamo junto. E, meu amor, obrigado pelo seu resub de presente no Panquequinha Gay. Muito obrigado. Amor da minha vida, obrigadão pelo seu sub de presente. Mano, a Bulwark, imagina a Bulwark no Cthulhu lutado. Mano, o shield vai ser gigante.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of the different supports trying different things. Maybe Sylvanas will enjoy
Sup tá muito
this
fraco, mas isso aqui não é de sup.
I've been loving
Isso não é pra sup, isso aqui quem faz geralmente é o solo.
There's some really cool
Bonkai X3, muito obrigado pelo seu sub com o Prime, tamo junto. Obrigado pelo apoio na live de verdade. Muito bem-vindo.
Yeah, a lot of good room for play. So that does it for the normal items. We have a few relics that have been touched on. The first one is Bracer of Radiance, actually, and it's getting a buff not only to.
Ó, que bonitinho! Ó, que bonitinho que ficou o Bracer.
Yep. So, Bracer Radiance,
E aumentou o move speed de 10 pra 15. Esse item eu achei meio broxa, porque a área dele que tem o efeito é pequenininha, mano. É uma areazinha de merda assim, tá ligado?
Yep. And then you also have the increase to the movement speed aura on the base.
Acho que tinha que ser uma área grandona, tipo de uma ward mesmo. Ele bufado dá mais move speed também e dá mais poder também.
Bufaram a bomba.
Obrigado pelos bits, Zeto. Sim, bufaram a bombas, infelizmente. Ativou o Hype Train, hein? Mais um subzinho, o Hype Train continua.
So you drop this in the middle of a team fight, you drop it around Fire Giant, your team's base of operations is going to be...
Animote mais baluarte vai ser um porre? Vai ser mesmo.
Fun item to use for exactly what you said, dropping in Fire Giant.
Mano, ficou bonito esse negócio aqui. Opa, aí sim! Hype Train nível 2. Senhor Luiz, obrigado pelo seu resub. Não, pelo seu sub com o Prime, tamo junto. Muito obrigado pelo apoio. Ih, nerfaram o Sander. Nerfaram o Sander, rapaziada. 125 segundos.
Focusing first on the cooldown for the base one, and then the upgrade is also decreasing the damage amplification. So,
rapaziada, quem tiver o Prime e quiser escorregar aí, ó, continua, pode continuar se quiser. E nerfaram o upgrade também, agora é só 7% de dano amplificado. Fico feliz que eu, mano, uma coisa que eu tô cansado é ter a porra de um Fafnir me beijando na boca e tacando Santa na minha cara. Ô, louco! Fito 2112, obrigado pelo seu recebo de 3 meses também, tamo junto. Muito obrigado pelo apoio. É, talvez nem vai compensar usar esse item mais, velho. Nem vai compensar talvez usar esse item mais.
Awesome. Well, that does it for the items. We're getting into the gods now.
Agora os deuses. Os deuses, cara.
And the beginning, the first god getting a nerf, you know her, and you love to see her nerfed, I guess. Tiamat.
Tiamat nerfada.
Yeah, so Tiamat saw lots of pro play for...
Nerfaram a 1 dela de 4 e a 2 dela de 4. Até onde eu sei. Ah, porra. Comunista, obrigado pelo seu sub de presente em cima do Alexus Tank. Tamo junto. Foi 1? Foi 2? E pro VTP também. Muito obrigado pelo sub de presente, ô Comunista. Tamo junto. Ó, chegamos no nível 3, rapaziada, do Hype Train. Brabo demais. Nerf justo. Tiamat é muito forte.
The damage you could do while you're in that ground stance and you're already tankier was just too high, and so we want to make sure that if you're going to be trading your offense for your defense, that feels like you've actually made that transition.
Obrigado, Comunista, pelo sub de presente. E Dog Galaxy, obrigado pelo recebe com o Prime de 2 meses. Tamo junto. Aproveitar o Hype Train, ó. Eu concordo, viu, com esse Hype Train aí, ó. Será que chega no nível 4? Nerfaram o dano da 2 do Raiju. Aquele dano que quica, tá ligado? Tuk, 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 tuk. Nerfaram o dano que quica. É, tipo, nerfaram o late game. 2 de dano a menos, 4 a menos, 6 a menos, 8 a menos. Ok, né? É, Capivara e Oiduki, obrigado pelo seu follow. Mano, eu tô cheio de capivarinha já no meu canal. Tem umas 10 capivaras que me seguiram. Daqui a pouco eu vou falar assim, cadê minhas capivarinhas? Aí vai estar o cru, cru, como é? Cru, 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 cru.
I believe this ticks 4 times, but it's going to be ramping down as you hit rank 5 because Raijin's late game is pretty insane.
Cadê minhas capivarinhas?
Cool. I'll be less afraid of him late game now.
Tô cheio de capivara.
So the next one is everybody's favorite giant silly snake, Jormungandr.
Jormungandr?
Nothing wrong with that.
Porra, menor!
Yeah, so Jormungandr getting quite a series of buffs. We've seen
meu amigo. Mano, é a primeira vez que chegou a 4, ao nível 4 do Hype Train. Comunista, obrigado pelos 10 subs de presente. Tamo junto. E o Liseira, Francisco, do Nox, Mercinho, Ienobis, GPA, Lord Eniak, Zuka Moka, Fifius e Ryan F. Tudo virou sub. Mano, muito obrigado, Camuniz. Tamo junto pra caralho. Obrigado por saber de presente aí no canal, mano. Chegou no nível 4. Ô, louco! Mito Dennis, obrigado pelo sub de presente também. Em cima do Rokubi. Tamo junto. Muito obrigado, velho. Bufaram o Jamongani. Meu Deus, velho, é muito sub. Tá quase nível 5 Hype Train e é o nível máximo. Caralho, velho. Aumentou o scaling do dano bônus da 2 dele. Aumentou a duração do tempo dos ataques básicos bufado dele. 2 por stack. Caralho! Que isso, velho? Mais 5 subs de presentes. Chegou no nível 5 o Hype Train. Primeira vez. Muito obrigado aí, galera, pelos seus subs aí. Chegou no nível 5 o Hype Train. Brabíssimo, mano. Muito obrigado pelo apoio, de verdade.
Some of the new itemization, the new changes to the solo meta, but she hasn't really been able to find her footing. We were looking
agora 10 subs do Emil Lavista de novo. Que isso, mano?
And we were noticing these cooldowns.
Mano, muito obrigado pelos seus subs de presente aí de novo, velho. Nossa, bufaram a Belona, mano. Mais dano e menos cooldown no 1. E a 3 menos cooldown. Meu Deus do céu, velho. Mano, eu não sei nem onde que eu concentro. Obrigado pelo sub de presente, rapaziada. Muito obrigado mesmo, de verdade, do fundo do coração. Muito obrigado pelos subs de presentes e pelo apoio na live, mano, de verdade. Caralho, chegou no Hype Train nível 5 como? Com pau duro. Nossa, eles tinham que parar de bufar a Belona, mano. Ela tá muito forte já, na minha opinião. Né, Kubo, que você falou. Bufaram a Belona de novo, mano. Bufaram o ataque speed por nível da Amaterasu e reduziu o cooldown da 3 dela, de 18 para 16. Ok. Bom buff, bom buff. Ué, mais 5? Caralho, comunista. Obrigado por mais 5 subs de presente. Meu Deus, é rinha de agiota. É rinha de agiota. Agiota. Que isso, mano? Tá porra. Obrigadão aí. Daqui a pouco todo mundo... Ah, não. Mais 5 subs o Eto que deu agora. Que é isso, velho? Mano, mais 5 subs de presente do Eto. Muito obrigado, Eto, pelos seus 5 subs de presente também. Meu amigo, agora geral é sub nesse chat. Geral aqui é sub nesse chat. Meu Deus. Ah, porra, velho. Muito obrigado. Todo mundo que tá aí apoiando a live, brigadão pelos seus subs de presente. Meu Deus. Bufaram o Caldinho? Ah, só o early game. Mas bufaram o Caldinho. E o Permafrost agora é 16 segundos, que é a 3. Ok. Meu Deus! Leons Killer, obrigado pelos seus 5 subs de presente também. Que porra é essa, irmão? Majogari, Diogo, Rodrigo, Caroba, Fox Blue e Raiden. Meu amor, me dá mais essa de presente na Clariane. E Emil Lavrista, mais 5 subs de presente, foda-se. Que é isso? Eduardo Shanks, Console, Savioli, Skyfe Muller e próprios personagens. Virou sub também todo mundo. Agora todo mundo é sub. Meu Deus, velho. Não vai parar de ter sub. Meu Deus, cara. Bufaram a paredinha do Totti agora, o dano dá mais... Ah, não. Mano, explodiu o trem, velho. Capotou o trem agora. Capotou o trem.
increase
10 subs, o Sugamos isso de novo. Agora é o Pink Lasanha,
actually buffing
o Gabriel.
ability damage, which is a lot of times what people are scared of. We're giving
Cadê?
this basic attack
O
damage.
Lucis, o Liune, o Dr. Peritube, o Opalo, o Layout, o Iron Punch, o Jonathan Ribeiro e o F Nubble virou sub.
Tá
porra, mano.
Even once he gets some items online, this is a way for him to help get a
Obrigado,
little bit
obrigado, obrigado. Mano,
hopefully not cause him to
que
get
porra é essa, velho?
we're all terrified.
Meu Deus, velho.
So
Ah, vai ficar até amanhã agora dando a notificação.
Mostly quality of life, mostly for some specific interactions, and hopefully nothing to really shake
Meu
things
Deus
up.
do céu, cara.
Yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on Scary Bird. So next up,
Agora o chat inteiro é sub, foda-se.
how is Baba Yaga main lives getting easier?
Baba Yaga.
Home will now be able to walk over minions.
Shout out to Reddit.
Agora a Baba Yaga pode ultar
And now she can.
e andar através de minions. Ah, obrigado, filha da puta, obrigado. Só falta ela não tomar root enquanto ela... quando ela ulta. Só falta isso, ela não ficar rutada quando ela ulta.
Cool. I'll make
Meu
sure to use
Deus,
that
velho.
to run away and get over that lane of minions that was blocking me. So next up we have Susanoo getting a buff. So Ajax, what's Susanoo doing better these days?
O chat tá puto, filho.
Tsukiyomi must be jealous. The whole thing, he's getting left out. So, Susanoo,
Bufaram a
another way that
2
players might have
e a
very
3
scary memories.
do Suzano.
I'm sure those memories are in the distant
Justo.
past.
O early game
Susanoo's
dele tá muito
stats have been
fraco, então eles
looking
bufaram
pretty low for quite a while
o
now.
early e o
We
late.
know how
Esse aqui é justo. Esse aqui é bem justo.
we are being really
Esse
careful,
aqui é meio
just getting a
whatever, né? O
little
puxão
bit of
dele.
base damage on
Mas
his
ok.
side and
É,
on screen.
Joãozinho, obrigado pelos 20 bits e Eto, obrigado pelos 100 bits e Joãozinho, obrigado por mais 20 bits. Caralho, mano. Vai ficar até amanhã agora, olha. Vai ficar até amanhã esse bagulho. Meu Deus.
Definitely a 0 to 100.
Agora é rinha de bits.
So next up,
Obrigado por mais 100 bits,
getting the
Lucas.
buff. How's
Caralho.
how's our bear person looking?
Getting some nice buffs. So
Tá
energy surge
porra,
in Mark
velho.
3, getting the
10 segundos a 1 da Archo.
seconds to 10. 10 is a very low cooldown ability for something that is
Que porra é esse aqui?
the Maul Prey ability.
Aumentou
Heavy charge is actually
a charge speed.
So right now it's
O urso é mais rápido agora.
you charge for with that.
O urso ficou mais rápido agora, 100% de move speed.
It's not quite
Bom buff. Ah, porra. M. Hashiri, obrigado pelos 300 bits. Eto Sagrado, obrigado pelos 50. E Liune, obrigado pelos 20 bits. Caralho, mano. Muito obrigado. Mano, que porra que tá rolando hoje, velho? O que tá rolando hoje, velho? Que porra é essa? Muito obrigado, rapaziada, de verdade. Todo mundo mandando Xhitolove no chat. Cadê Xhitolove? Acho que tem um comando. Todo mundo spama Xhitolove aí, foda-se. Como é que é o comando? Não lembro agora. Aí, ó, porra. Pega esse ícone aí, foda-se. Spama Bufaram o Capinha? Bufaram o Capinha também? Joãozinho RJ, obrigado por 100 bits. Ok, bufaram o Capinha. Sai, Google esquizofrênico. Esse Google me trollando? Aí, ó, um monte de Xhitolove no chat. Muito obrigado, viu, rapaziada, de verdade. Eu tava num dia ruim hoje, mas agora ficou um dia bom, na moralzinha. Muito obrigado pelo apoio, rapaziada, pelos seus subs de presente, pelos bits, pelos follow, por tudo, pelo...
Yeah, he can turn into a horror. You don't see him for 10 games, then he shows up and ruins your whole game. So, but I'm sure he'll be good. I know people who are already excited about that buff.
Alô, cartões clonados.
Finally,
KKKK.
last but not least, we have Nisha getting a buff. So, how's Flaming Spear?
Nisha bufado?
Better. How about that?
Yeah, so Flaming Spear gain that big cooldown reduction. Generally, you're maxing the 1 and 3 to make sure you're getting a bit more damage out.
Agora os bits. Agora é chuva de bits.
Você merece, Chito. Sempre ajudou todo mundo nessa porra.
It can feel like a stem that is really rewarding.
Joan FR1, obrigado pelo seu resub de 2 meses também, mano. Tamo junto. Obrigado pelo apoio.
You're going to be able to box more effectively with it. You're not going to feel so...
Caralho, a 3 Nezar agora é 14 segundos? Não, pera aí.
Rounding out now,
É a 2. Caralho, bufaram muito a 2 do Nezar. 4 segundos? É muita coisa. Muita coisa, muita coisa, muita coisa. Bufizaço. Bufizaço isso aqui.
Very long cooldown.
Well, not anymore. But well, not as of August 24th, when all of these balances are going.
Olha os bits aparecendo. Muito obrigado a todo mundo que deu bits aí também, viu?
We made it through balance. That was a lot.
Yeah.
So I know, make sure to hydrate. So if you missed any of that or want to be able to read it again for yourself, make sure to check those update notes because they're going to be going live. But all of this comes out August 24th. So
Esse chega no dia 24 de agosto. Esses buffs aqui agora.
So next up, we're actually going to talk about something that I hear AJ might be excited about. We're bringing back the Chinese Joust map. I actually believe, isn't this the map that launched in season 3?
This is.
Vamos trazer outra justa de volta.
Very excited for this map.
Agora vai voltar aquela justa. Aquela justa verde. A chinesa. Do nada, tá ligado? Tipo.
It never really dropped below what they were before. We got a little boost and then we came back to average, which is a nice little thing to see what happens when we change up a map.
Ó, no duelo, eu prefiro o mapa atual. Pra 3x3, a verde ou aquela lá de Jade, tá ligado?
People who were very excited to have that map back. They potentially didn't use Reddit as much as the people who dislike Classic Joust, but that's fine. Either way, we always had planned on rotating through the Joust map, so I'm really excited to bring us the phase 2 of this season 3 Chinese Joust map is going to be returning.
Eu não curto muito esse mapa.
Classic Joust. It's going to be the default Joust map for both duel and Joust, for normal, co-op, and ranked matches. So ranked duel is going to be on this map as well. We're going to keep Classic Joust as well as Jade Corruption Joust available for custom matches. We are
ok, dá pra criar custom ainda com a justa clássica?
Balance changes and, well, not nearly as many, but some smaller tweaks to balance and some bug fixing and quality of life. With Classic Joust, we really we knew that.
Não gosto dessa justa. Não gosto dessa justa, velho, nem um pouco. Da verde. Não gosto.
Você merece tudo e mais um pouco, Chito.
Pra X1, no caso, né?
Players get on the map to make it match a little bit more like our modern maps. Outside of that, this map is mostly returning untouched.
I mean, hard to mess with a good thing, right?
Right.
Well, that is awesome. I hope y'all are excited.
O chat gostou? Vocês gostam ou não gostam da justa antiga?
I love it, so I'm excited. So next up, we have the skins. We have some skins.
Mas skins. Pera aí. Eu quero mandar um chute safado aqui.
I'm super excited for. So
chute safado, foda-se. De graça, sim. Ah, o trailer antigaço. Nossa, esse aqui é velho. Esse aqui foi lançado na Season 3. Eu estava lá quando lançou.
Eles estão reativando o pack de 2019 e adicionaram as skins.
Eu estava lá. Pra duelo, isso aqui é meme. Pra conquista, pra 3x3 é da hora isso daqui, mas pra duelo é meme. Tadinho do Red, velho. Pra que fazer isso com ele? Sun Quan de wallhack. Sun Quan de wallhack. O meu Sun Quan não faz isso não. A Medusa voando também. Olha o Titã com a butina do Senai. O Titã com a butina do Senai aqui, ó. A butina do Senai aqui.
De baú meu gostoso menor que 3.
Nossa, N é a edição, hein, Raez? N é a edição.
How about that sticky note? How about that movie? Season 8, getting that map back.
Otaku! Otaku, Sword Online, cadê? Olha aqui.
To the skins releasing in the 8.8 Ceaseless World.
Olha aqui que otaku.
August 24th.
Otaku pra caralho.
I'm actually going to be joined here by Bananimation and Brick Brack Paddywhack. Welcome
to agora não vamos ficar falando da justa.
Good. Can you hear us?
Great. How are you?
Não é possível que vão falar da Justa,
Correct me
né?
if I'm wrong, y'all two are both awesome animators for Smite, is that correct?
Skin, né? Vai falar agora, pelo amor de Deus.
We try.
Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked to have both of y'all here. And are y'all ready to talk about some cool skins?
Yes.
Ah,
let's go.
skins, tá safe.
Awesome. So the first skin we're getting into actually is with the brand new Sakura chest coming with the 8.0
Futebol?
update. And that's
Soccer?
Yeah, enjoyed Neath.
É soccer e futebol? Ah, não.
Yeah, just look at her.
É Sacred.
Oh, so pretty.
Skin pra Nif! Uau! Eu nunca iria esperar uma skin pra Nif.
It's just so
Eu estou muito, nossa, impressionado com a skin da Nif. Meu Deus, uma skin pra Nif. Vocês acreditam nisso?
Nami one of this?
Oh, meu Deus.
I totally agree. I love the kind of like see-through.
É no tema da Izanami.
Body, you can kind of see beneath them. It's so good looking.
Yes. Beautiful. I love her.
Absolutely amazing skin. I love the boats.
Opa, senhor Morningstar, obrigado pelo seu recebo de 4 meses, tamo junto. Mamada hoje? Que isso? Um salve pro GB Santos, tamo junto. Muito obrigado pelo seu recebo.
Ah, eu mando um salve pro meu amigo, Gibson.
Essa aqui é maneira, mas é pra Nif, tá ligado? Foda-se. Por que não lança pra Stella Artemis? Bola de Seja. Thanatos? Caralho, cuzão! Olha esse card, filho!
Yeah, definitely. This is
Tá
my nightmare.
porra, menor!
Yeah, right. A dragon that's like
Caralho.
wings, looks kind of like a
Vamos ver em game.
scythe, but with teeth on
O
it.
card tá maneiro, filho.
Scarier. Ooh,
Tá com fome, mas tá maneiro. Tá maneiro?
absolutely love it.
Não sei se tá maneiro. Tá
Guess I'll
maneiro?
Play more assassins.
Meio
I know,
maneiro.
all these skins come out and force me to play new
Tá
characters.
puro
I
osso,
love
porra.
the, like, segmented green.
Tá meio maneiro só. Meio maneiro.
Super cool.
Absolutely fantastic. And the like purple armor. I'm
Ah, pra
super
mim ficou meio maneiro.
awesome. Well, let's see what his voice line sounds like. Let's hear him.
Pô.
Stand for the order.
É.
Looks like he floats for the order too. And
Hey.
probably
Yeah.
throws
As
probably
pernas.
throws scythes for the order. as
Fininho.
well.
Fininho! Para de gerar, tô ficando
That is
tonto.
super awesome. I'm horrified of seeing him float above me in game.
Que
And
isso?
now we're into the Odyssey.
Oh, Ra?
And
Ra
first part of
gostoso?
the Odyssey event is a Mystic Magus Raw. And,
Caralho, Ra
oh,
gostoso!
no, he's hot.
Yeah.
Nossa, tá gostoso, tá gostoso. Tá gostosão.
Right. Check out the abs, looking so good.
Ó,
This is
ó.
actually.
Se liga no pernão do Ra, filho. Ra gostoso, foda-se.
So you can take him in a look he's never had before.
Nossa, Ra
Like
gostosíssimo.
the way his back is.
Tá igual aquele Anubis gostoso, tá ligado?
Just looks so good.
É o Ra gostoso agora.
I love these.
250 quilos leg press,
I
né?
totally agree.
Olha os pernão do Ra, filho. O pezão também.
Let's see what his voice line sounds like.
I see what is, what
Top.
was.
Top demais.
Skin do Thanatos que saiu do
Mutants
Dark
never
Seeds
lie.
2.
If you listen to them, together we shall triumph.
Consultar com um egípcio.
Wow, he sounds calm and sure of himself. That's awesome.
Ficou da hora
So
o
this
Ra.
next skin,
O
one that
Ra.
I've been
O Ra
so
gostoso.
excited to see. We have Neat's biggest fan, Jean-Qui.
Yes.
Nem fudendo. Nem fudendo. Nem fudendo.
There at the event,
Nem fudendo que lançaram
ready,
isso.
Killing it in his lane. Like,
Meu
so good.
Deus.
Yeah. I love the people in the background of the Carter.
Nem
Yeah, I
fudendo.
love all the sounds.
Puta que pariu, cara.
Oh, this is so good. I thought Titan Cupcake was
Ah, não, velho.
that she has in,
Ah, não, mano.
Smite, but I guess Jean-Qui is such a great looking skin. I've heard that this skin has a new intro to match Neat's intro. So, you know, obviously if you're gonna cosplay.
Ah, não, velho.
So, and there are a lot of neat
Olha
sound
o tamanho
effects,
da
in
bunda do
this as well,
Jean-Qui.
that they're really gonna show through. So, let's hear the voice.
Puta que pariu, velho.
Do you not recognize me?
Olha a pança dele, filho.
I love that so much, and yeah, I do recognize you because you're really good at cosplaying. So,
Meu Deus,
That is
velho.
so
Não, velho, não, velho,
the next
não.
Is
KKKK,
Valhalla
fico parecendo biscate de cabaré.
Heimdall.
uh,
Caralho. Rendal gostoso, filho.
So stylish.
Olha isso, cafetão.
Fun fact, the guy whispering in his ear
Cafetão.
is actually saying,
Desgraça
"You
é
rock."
essa, Chico.
So,
Puta que
Tá
pariu.
porra, mano.
just a fun fact for y'all.
They just hired someone just to do that for them.
Ó,
Yeah, right?
é o Rendal
I'm thinking
cafetão.
about it. I haven't found anybody yet, but
Sentava.
oh yeah, look at how awesome that looks. I love the like gilded axe, like the way the axe looks. It's just so awesome.
So
That is,
freaking cool.
I agree.
Tá bonitão.
As one sharp dressed hunter
A
right
little
there. Let's
crime, a little money, and a whole lot of fun.
Tatuagem nórdica padrão.
that does seem like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a crime that he isn't here right now, because I need that suit. That's so awesome. All right, so the next one, another one, just so many things I'm so excited about. We have Malworm Jormungandr.
Jormungandr.
And I am just so excited
Fico
about
todo
this.
Me.
I just-
arrastadinho.
hardest part of my job is not just blabbing about
Me.
it all the time, and this is one of them.
Belos
Super
beats,
great
Zeto.
skin, super excited for it, and actually a community concept from Jay Alejo.
Mano, em game vai ficar merda, não vai? Ou não?
Again, thank you so much
É um
for this
vírus.
concept. Everybody's so
Me.
excited about it. Oh man.
Que bosta!
And the
Não, que
glitching-
bosta! Nossa, que bosta!
Yeah, it looks so good. I absolutely love it.
Caralho,
The
velho,
story
muito
is great,
ruim.
all the, like fatal error.
Muito
Oh,
ruim!
That's so good.
É o Trojan!
Again, every
Ah, tá
time I
bugado,
rescan,
tá bugado
it
essa
changes,
porra.
it changes, like, 3 times
Me, que bosta!
I'm right there with you.
Oh, super great. That is, I love it.
Pay to win!
Let's
Pay to win essa skin aqui, viu?
Voice line sounds like.
So many vulnerabilities to choose from. Which should I infect first?
That sounds awesome.
Well, Malworm, you have infected my heart, so don't worry about that.
Your heart.
É Odisseia essa bosta? Não é nem fudendo, não é Odisseia não, né?
Kind of an opposite. That's horrifying. Next up, we have a cutie, Kiro Donzaboro. And,
Desaborou, Kiro.
Yeah,
Oh, a perereca!
Frog Boy.
A perereca!
Eu
I've
fico
been
imaginando
waiting
o
for
Zika
that.
É uma
no filme da
perereca com
Novidades.
armadura de samurai ainda por cima!
I totally
Do
agree.
nada.
It looks absolutely amazing. I love frogs.
Meu Deus!
Oh, look at it.
Olha em games! Ficou brabo.
So good. Couple fingers and his little-
Meu Deus,
Oh, I
velho.
love him.
Gun.
Let's take a listen to the voice line.
Another journey filled
Mano.
with danger and the unknown.
Dança perereca, cucula em perereca e tem o Zonkui gato que chupa perereca.
He has so much going
Dá
on.
vazão à justa de
Actually,
perereca.
we're gonna dive into game with Pond to check this one out. So let's
Fico
check
parecendo
it
Gama
out.
Kid.
Olha que bonitinho em game.
I love how light on his feet he always looks.
I
So
know.
a super pretty skin. His abilities, some of his abilities evolve lily pads, I've heard. Yeah, look at him floating in there. And then
Tá, só falta uma.
so good. They got the coins. The gun is so pretty. Oh,
Oh, the
the
rocket.
bubbles on the
Oh my
yeah.
God. It's like a fish. Like his gun.
It is like
That's
a
so
fish.
cool.
Yeah, I love how it comes
Ficou
out.
da hora essa skin.
Yeah.
Oh,
É um peixão. É o. como é que é o
I love
nome
the
da.
water
É carpa.
sound effects,
Uma
too.
carpa
What a
gigante.
great skin. That
Guess
armor
I'll
is
play
so
more
cool.
Danza.
He turns it in. Look
Ó, o AJ é melhor, mas ficou da hora esse daqui.
That's so cute.
Absolutely amazing. I'm so excited for this one. All right, but the next one's what I'm most excited about, and for obvious
Oh,
reasons,
boy.
we have Toon Mania
Ah,
Cthulhu.
o T5.
coming at ya.
Yes.
Até 5 do Cthulhu.
I can't.
Tá,
I can't be
porra,
excited
lá
about
vem.
this enough. Cthulhu's T5. There's. I mean.
What
I
the
could probably do a
fuck?
show on
Que
alone.
porra? Que é isso aqui, velho?
There's Bobby Knees. Look at how excited he
A
is.
bundinha dele!
But
Look
A
at him, like,
bundinha dele!
every time.
Olha o cuzão
Every
dele!
time. Let's hear his voice on. Let's see what he has to
Que
say.
porra é essa, véi?
The world, it's mine for the taking!
Well, you can have it. You've earned it. Look at you. So this actually
Ele evolui.
is that he has 4 different characters, 4 unique
4
characters.
formas.
There's the base, which we just saw.
Olha o cuzão
There's
dele,
the
mano.
Aviator, which we're looking at now, and we're also going to see 2 more as we go on. The
Olha o
Sheriff
cara,
and the
tá
Cruiser.
sarrando ainda, ó.
But let's continue hearing these voices.
Ele é o herói do sexo.
Trust me, you don't want to see me go crazy.
The laugh is so good. I think I do want to see him go crazy. Oh,
I
he's
do
the
too.
cowboy. He's a little
Cowboy?
I love how his tentacles are a mustache. I love his little spurt. Oh, what a great skin.
Mano, essa bunda dele não dá não, velho. Sai da minha tela, bundão.
Let's go.
Why settle for less
Lula
when we can
molusco.
be whoever we choose?
Olha essa skin, velho.
I think he's getting crazier every time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Meu Deus. Olha o Zurig. Olha o Zurig. Topa tudo.
Coolest Cthulhu on the block. We have the greaser.
Mano, essa bunda não, velho. Para com essa bunda na minha tela, mano.
So many good
Cthulhu Zurig, foda-se.
I love him so much. I cannot wait to be all of them. Let's
Be the
let's hear
change
his
you
voice
want
line.
to see in the world. Get it?
Oh, that's so good. So yeah, like I was saying, he has 4 unique characters, and these are based on his abilities. Let's go in game and let's see it a little closer. How about
Yes.
Meu
it?
Deus.
Look at him.
Ele tá pequeno. Ele tá pequeno, não tá?
Look at the walk.
He's got a jaunty walk, yeah.
He does. He demands
Ele tá
attention. That came walking at me.
Ele tá menor, não tá?
I'm happy and also.
Olha o jeito que ele anda, velho. Vai tomar no cu.
So again, there's so many great things to go over, but his abilities are what.
Ah, cada skill dele muda ele de forma.
You're going to swap into these different outfits, and you're going to stay that way until you use your next ability.
What the fuck?
Oh, I love that. I love the cannon. I love so much good work went into this. So you see the plane with the dash. He turns into the little aviator character. His 2, he turns into the cannon. So many good things.
Ele virou um avião,
One of the
mano.
cool ones is actually his ult, which y'all haven't seen yet. So
Yes.
let's
Como é que vira o Zurig? É só com a ult? Será que dá pra virar o Zurig?
playing Tour of the Jungle. Uh-oh.
Olha lá, os dois assim.
Another Cthulhu.
Tá porra!
Look at that. That is
Que
so
doido, velho. Virou uma caveirona.
Yeah, I totally agree. The sound effects are so good. So that's Big Boy Bones. He's kind of based on,
Microsoft
you know, old
processa
animation,
PQ
kind of like the
PA de
skeletons from a bunch of old animations from back in the day, really based on that old cartoon style.
Mas como é que vira o Zurig?
The skin all looks itself, super awesome.
Uai.
But there's so much more to this skin than meets the eye. He has a lot of cool animations, which I've already seen. But he also has really cool victory and defeat screens. In death, he actually turns into a skull and crossbones, and he has a little ghost that floats away. So
A 1 vira cowboy, a 3 vira aviador.
So yeah, let's see it.
E a 2 vira o padrão.
And then his little ghost floats.
Mas
I
e
love
o.
it too, the little swervy back and forth.
Mas e o
So
Zurig?
good. I hear he also has a pretty neat. Yeah, I was about to say recall animation is great.
Olha o recal, velho.
And he has a really cool VXG for getting back to lane and style.
Cuphead isso daqui total.
Let's see how that looks. Oh,
Meu Deus do céu. Assim que vira o Zurig.
there are so many things I love about
De
this.
carro, hétero
That's my
top.
favorite. When you back up, he throws
Yes.
his arm back, looks over the. It's so good.
Olha isso,
So
velho.
stylish
Horn,
car.
Meu, olha isso que
Yeah,
foda.
you jump in his face, he honks the horn. But look at how like it's so alive and anime. I love it so much. So the audio team, shout out to our audio team for this.
Ah, ele fica
They spent
assim,
a lot
ou não
of
fica
time
assim?
Just talking about, you know, the classic 50
Ó,
cartoons.
fez zerinho. Ele faz zerinho, velho.
With this skin would make it feel really
Ó o barulho,
good.
ó o barulho.
It's kind of all that it has. It's Now, one of the other notes that I have about this is apparently when you're under the influence of his passive insanity, he actually becomes black and white, like an old-fashioned cartoon.
Ah, na
So,
passiva dele fica preto e branco, igual o cartoon antigamente.
There's so many moving parts to this skin, and I think we might be able to.
Mano,
have
que
this
doideira, velho.
going on for us.
Yeah, there's like a little.
Ó, ele
song.
fica preto e branco.
It's really cute.
Yep. So, and look at that. He becomes black and white, just like in the old cartoon. It's so cool.
A passiva
That's
dele.
just yeah. All the little animated eyes. Like, I hate to say that I want to have that passive on me, but you know, I'm not dodge the skill shot.
Mano, ficou boa essa T5. Eu odeio o Cthulhu,
Man, this is so cool.
mas ficou muito boa essa T5, velho, na moral.
Yeah, this is going to be.
Ó o trem,
to
ó o
get
trem
that skin,
vindo.
If you do the buy all in the Odyssey, you're gonna have that skin immediately as soon as you hit.
Tem que comprar a
buy
Odisseia
all.
inteira, viu, rapaziada? Lembrando que a Odisseia fica mais barata no começo. E quem puder usar o meu link de gemas aí pra comprar e me ajuda bastante, viu? Tem um link aí no chat, tem um link no chat do YouTube também, ó. E todos os meus vídeos do YouTube tem na descrição o link. Quem puder ajudar, quem quiser comprar e ajudar aqui o canal, humilde demais. Ó. Ah, a deusa nova, eu já vi isso.
And every fish, each creature and man laid eyes on her.
É só PC, infelizmente, o meu link. Não tem como ser no console.
Mother, it's only a story, right?
Mano, olha o Minion que eles fizeram. A Minion ficou bonita, filho. É Minion gata, quer ver? Ai, que altura, velho. Porra. Olha a Minion. Minion bonitona, filho.
Protect me.
Aí chega quem? A pelona, né? Lá no céu, foda-se. É casal. É casal, certeza. Salve.
That's every time I watch that, I get chills. I am so excited. Welcome back, Ajax, and welcome, Clumsy. How are you doing?
Agora é a hora, filhão.
Good. I'm really excited. We had some amazing things, the Cthulhu skin, but now it's time for some Charybdis.
Now it's time for some Charybdis. Couldn't
Charybdis.
myself. So that's Charybdis. There's so much to talk about. Let's
Quem que é esse mano aqui que virou o principal da Rares? Denji.
Clumsy, why don't you give a start on the background, and then let me, I'll talk a little bit more about how Charybdis translates into the Smite universe at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So Charybdis is the child of Poseidon, and there was a fight back in some time where they were up against Zeus, and because of that fight, they ended up
Filha de Poseidon.
Zeus actually cursed Charybdis to become a gigantic, whirlpool creature that would suck up the tides a day. And there was lots of stories between the Odysseus and with the Argonauts where they had to choose between sailing in the strait between Scylla or Charybdis. I think if you looked at the Closer Look blog, there's a lot of analogies that came up from that situation, and usually those sailors were kind of doomed either way. If they went too close to Scylla, well, she would get them, and if you get too close to the whirlpool and Charybdis, well, you're probably going to be doomed for a Scylla right there.
So as we're bringing Charybdis into Smite, we're realizing a lot of different decisions need to be made. There's a lot of different ways to work with this character. We really feel like the strongest bit of her mythology was how she's always referred to with Scylla and Charybdis.
Right.
All of the stories where she's described, they always describe her together. So we wanted to design her in a way that matched Scylla and made them feel like a dynamic duo that made them feel like fitting together. So Charybdis is a young child, but she actually appears like a young child, is like a daughter of Poseidon, but she's actually hiding her cursed arm underneath her royal cloak that is actually a giant maw with an insatiable appetite or thirst for seawater who is never satisfied, and he is ready to chomp
Então ela realmente é a Charybdis, só que ela tem um braço demoníaco. Eu achei que o monstro era ela, não ela era ela.
Creature that she's hiding, she's concealing. That is what was swallowing the seawater for years and for centuries. And she was trapped. Obviously, Scylla and Charybdis are often thought about as powerful characters, but they also.
Eu achei que o Charybdis seria o monstro, não ela em si.
And now she's freed, right? And that's why
no caso, ela é a Charybdis e tem um monstro no braço.
Her position underwater, where she's been, swallowing ships, and she's ready to see some action.
Bora, cara, vem game, porra, enrola não. Lembra, fala aí, Joe Gamer.
Her mark on the battleground, specifically. She's got vengeance towards Zeus, who had cursed her to this fate for so many centuries, right?
Oh yeah.
And a lot of different thematic elements were all coming together.
Meu Deus, velho.
Here you see her. This is her idle animations where the maw comes out and she interacts with it in various ways.
Cabeçuda pra caralho, né?
In various ways with her
é cearense, foda-se.
See her be freed by Tiamat.
É a Cira cearense.
And Charybdis, a child, maybe.
Salve Ceará. Beijo pro Ceará.
That seems like a perfect fit. Tiamat, who is all of her children are monsters, so Charybdis is not anything shocking to her. The dagger mechanic also came with Charybdis. We were initially thinking hunter. We've always wanted a hunter. We had talked about a lot of different ways to realize this, but we wanted her to have a weapon to help.
Cearense, salve o cabeção também, pô.
And we designed the daggers in a way that is referencing
mulher com tromba
or bone, as if these all of her daggers, you could imagine, are the countless teeth that the maw has shed like a shark.
Meu Deus, que doido com o monstro no braço dela. Acelera, meu Deus do céu, bora pro jogo. Quero ver o kit dela.
Detail and connectivity between her lore and her art and her style and her gameplay, as well as how she fits on the battleground. Like I feel like we could talk about this one topic forever, but I'm so glad we're seeing her model right now. We have to see, of course, her abilities.
Oh yeah. How about we do that? Pawn, can you can take it away and show us everything.
Bora ver as skills. Ah, tem muito Odin, é coisa que rebate, não é?
Let's see it all.
Ataque básico. Isso foi skill que...
Oh, there it is.
Oh. And then there's also this.
Oh. So good.
There's the penta.
So
much to see there that we have to know.
Oh. Yeah, so much to break
excited
down.
To take you through these one at a time.
I agree. Well, let's dive right into it then. How about the passive, Raging Tides?
Yeah, Charybdis' passive is Raging Tides, although I also want to really quickly bring about her basic attack chain, which I know we didn't add into this, but it's pretty important. It's honestly what makes Charybdis really unique too, is that she has a unique
ela joga três básicos.
Actually split into 3 lighter basic attacks. So you can see
ela manda 2 básicos e depois mais 3.
Audio cue as well as a small animation tell. She fires 3
mas são mais fracos. São 3 rapidão, só que 3 mais fracos. King size. É King size nela. Proca 3 vezes seguidas.
Don't scare them like that, clumsy.
Yeah, right.
If we go into the passive, which is a Raging
Tide, we get
a little bit of that clarification, where there is the positive effect, obviously.
A passiva dela é igual do Poseidon, só que em vez de move speed, ela ganha move speed, attack speed.
She gains tide with her basic attacks, and in this case, she actually gains attack speed as her tide increases, and her abilities can spend it in different ways. But as we noted, item damage is reduced by 35% on Charybdis to make sure that the procs from her basic attacks aren't too insane. Believe me, at 100%.
King size, animose, proca menos no básico dela.
Well, now, honestly, while in attacks,
então tipo, King size, essas coisas não baixam tanto nela, no básico dela normal. Pode crer.
That hit chain is super awesome. It feels really good to use. I can't wait for people to get it.
Não tem como errar esse ataque básico dela, tem?
It looks so rewarding.
We had a lot of people note that.
The 3 dagger toss is just so fun looking. I'm excited.
Ela é pequenininha, né? Olha, é menor que a Cira parece.
How about we talk about Spike Shot?
Yeah, so Spike Shot is a basic attack stim where Charybdis finally, reveals the maw. It comes out and she gets to fire spikes from it for a short duration. The basic attacks in this, because these are actually dealing basic attack damage.
Ela joga basic attack, não é uma skill, é basic attack. Então crita.
And on hitting any god or wall,
atravessa minion.
Those fragments are bonus damage, and they're not basic.
Meu Deus.
They'll deal extra damage to the god hit.
É o ramo melhor, tá ligado? Atravessa minion.
That is super awesome. I can already think
explode.
Of that can be fun to use, like in the jungle, like
ó, o dano que explode é skill. E o dano que bate é básico.
So we have, of course, we're trying to work in using the monster, right? So we have, like we talked about, her daggers being carved from tooth. This is shooting something more literally,
Como que esquiva disso?
The monster, but you're also seeing a lot of water mixed in.
Como que esquiva disso?
Whirlpool goddess. Right. We have a lot of aquatic nods, so you're seeing some watery effects along with this. And you're going to see more of that coming up in future abilities. And this ability, allowing it to
bate em parede também.
Is a strong effect for lane.
Ela é jungler, foda-se. Vou fazer ela jungler.
Something you might be kind of comparing to someone like Rama, who can pierce through the minions with a basic attack stim.
Yep. But we do
Yeah,
actually
and-
recommend, especially with testing, that you probably the recommended level order is actually the 2, which is coming up next. Because if any enemies do want to, just body block it, it's got kind of got like the old on her effect. It will stop on the god, and also to make sure it's not too overpowered, especially with the passive attack speed, it does have minion hit reduction applied. That actually goes away as it ranks up. So at level 1,
Yeah, it's a really new type of balance effect.
Reduction. Yep.
Got it.
Alguém miou, que porra é essa?
Correct me if I'm seeing this right, but this is a duration-based ability, meaning that you get to fire.
Alguém miou ali no chat dos caras.
Exactly. That's a really key point, actually, because even with her passive at early games, and that's another reason why we tend not to rank it early, you're not going to be actually doing that much because your attack speed's pretty low. But as you gain items and as you gain more levels, that ability actually becomes way, way stronger. Even
Tá, ele tá falando que é melhor upar 2 do que upar 1. A 1 você upa depois de upar 2, aparentemente.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's move to the second ability. Let's check out Capsize.
Número 2 agora.
Absolutely. So Capsize, is a little bit of a unique ability where it starts off as a smaller cone, and the more you channel it, the more it actually gains.
Começa menor e vai aumentando
The cone angle itself is growing. And Charybdis is absorbing water from the area around her before firing it again from that maw. Enemies hit are
Joga uma
really
onda.
large but rapidly decaying slow and physical protection debuff. And if
Tira
you channel
defesa
longer, obviously,
física.
you're getting a longer lifetime and a longer potency to that debuff effect, but it does take tide. So you can see right here, Pawn turned off his energy cheats, so he's actually unable
você
to
perde
fire,
passiva com isso.
any larger than that radius, that width.
Now, this is symbolic of Charybdis drinking up the water for all the years, right?
Yeah.
So in this ability, the maw hidden under her cloak.
Então não tem CC.
Drinking in
Não
the
falaram
water
de slow nem nada do
to
tipo, nem cripple.
projectile it out at enemies. This is a really good setup ability. You'll want to use this before you follow up with your basic attacks in many cases, but I would also like to point out that this ability does not
Não vai
hit
muito
further than
longe.
55 units away. Her basic attacks are the normal 55 unit range. Her 1 is
Ó.
the normal 55 unit range, and the 2.
O range dela é normal, o ataque básico, aparentemente.
Long-ranged poke ability on a hunter, which is a very interesting playstyle.
Ela
You kind of have
é
to
de
get
perto, né?
very close, or you have to stay right at that 55 range to play Charybdis optimally. And her next ability doesn't really afford her any range either, but it does complement that type of playstyle in a very interesting and powerful way, and of course in a very satisfying way to those players out there who are wishing that you could be just a giant whirlpool. We have something for you ready to go.
Tá, ela sem passiva não dá o dano alto do gigantão.
Let's let him see the monster, the whirlpool.
So
Ela
we knew people
vira.
would want to see a whirlpool. We knew people would want to see more of the monstrous maw. So we kind of designed this ability to be.
É dano por tique ainda por
highlight those
cima?
themes, as well as give you this feeling.
Porra, é
that you're
essa?
all- you've got similar. You have a similar approach, like AJ was saying, where you are incentivized for going.
Parece que ela fica rápida, não importa a direção que ela anda.
It does take tide in doing so. So it's kind of like
Dá
a mix between
knock-upzão.
Pele and Jormungandr, where if Charybdis just uses this ability, she's dealing damage to any enemies in the vicinity. But if she actually presses it again to spend that tide, she moves even faster and does more damage in that area, and also does a knock-up effect, which is really integral actually to her gameplay, especially when you're trying to be aggressive.
Tá, se clicar 3 duas vezes dá mais dano.
I mean, it's scary.
E o
to
knock-up.
burn your escape if you use that to engage, but with that speed boost and the knock-up, there's so much potential for really getting into
Que é
your enemy.
passiva.
Tá, se você só apertar, você vai andando, causando dano. Se clicar 2 vezes, ela fica mais rápida e dá knock-up, só que acaba mais cedo, aparentemente.
Because of its untargetability, lets her evade a lot of powerful things. Lets her get out a lot of trouble. But also doesn't move super fast, or go super far or react super quickly. So if your enemies are just prepared and tracking you really well, they'll prepare to ambush you as soon as you exit. But it was just too perfect with this kit and the visuals of being a whirlpool and what type of game.
Ah, gasta passiva 2 vezes. Aí se a passiva acabar, você perde ela. A skill.
Like, I'm so glad we were able to bring this aspect of the kit to this goddess. I mean, no people were really looking forward to this kind of visual.
Ah, gasta uma porcentagem da passiva ali, ó.
And to note as well, it's a very potent ability, in fact, that you can use this to either engage or disengage. It does have a pretty long wind-up, so she has this entire time where she's animating and diving into the ground, which is about 0.5 seconds. And during that time, you can stun her out of it. You can stop her from using this ability and try and lock her down. You'll definitely notice that it's not the easiest to just freely escape, but if you're given enough ample opportunity, then you
Tá, tem como acertar ela enquanto isso, será?
The warm-up time too.
That's what I was just saying. The 0.5-second warm-up time. Yeah.
Because that warm-up time. Sorry, I was still trying to understand if we're talking about the warm-up time or like the exit state. But yeah, that warm-up time is no joke. I've gotten trapped a few times in playtesting, thinking I could get out of things a little too quickly, but the warm-up time, a well-timed CC will prevent you from escaping. And same with if you're too deep in, once you do exit out of that form.
Ou vai ser igual o do Zaburou, que ela fica imune, será?
That way too.
And while you can go underneath,
Entra na torre aí, meu princeso.
not go underneath geometry, so that's another big thing. She doesn't have like a leap or a teleport, right? So if you are being ganked and you're in the middle of your lane, you may not be safe just going to your tower. You might have just preferred having like a leap.
Ok, ela atravessa a parede de deuses.
Sometimes just chasing the Charybdis is actually.
Foda-se, Odin, né? Foda-se. E ela não tomou o dano da ult do Odin quando ela sai da área. A ult do Odin não mirou nela quando ela saiu da área.
Which is super awesome.
Very evasive.
Yeah, and I agree that it looks super good. If super good means like terrifying and toothy. So, but that's awesome. I'm excited about that, and not excited about trying to chase that. But let's get into the ult. Let's check out the Maw Hungers.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to see it again before
yeah, let's
do it.
Let's do it.
There we go.
A morte da Scylla, praticamente. Que vai e morde. Empurra, né? Tá, porra! 10k de dano. OP.
Her spiritual sister of Scylla. We wanted to have this similar kind of ability where you do a large chunk of damage, but utilizing this awesome creature.
10k de dano, foda-se.
You can see you've got the killer reset that Scylla has. So Charybdis has that as well. So what's happening here is Charybdis is really revealing her true nature, being immune and moving faster as well. And she actually has a rectangle component that you can aim as the player, which will push enemies that are caught in that.
Tá, você fica rapidão, igual a Scylla, e só ult reset toda hora que você mata.
And actually stunning as well, which is a different component that Scylla has. But as a hunter, this ability is actually not the easiest to use. We have found in playtesting, and just while designing her, that if you're a long-range mage like Scylla, firing something over a wall is pretty easy. This ability you can't fire through walls because of that net component. And if you're not careful,
ela não consegue atirar pela parede.
And then it just fire back at you. So adding that stun component's utility has been very, very helpful. And sometimes using this ability as an
Eu queria ver o dano dela sem esse poder infinito.
More helpful.
Ela tá com poder infinito. Eu queria ver sem poder infinito.
Yeah, wow, it's just so impressive to watch because how amazing the monster looks. Oh, and that's cool. You can choose the
ela parece ser mais um mago do que um ADC na moral.
Exactly. So the closer you do fire this ability, the faster it comes out, which is also really important because at the max range distance, it isn't actually the easiest ability to hit. Enemies can just kind of.
It really is not. And I know people,
Tá, de perto ela é mais rápida, a mordidinha.
But a lot of you are not.
Dá um stun?
When the time comes, we will see how this works. How good people are hitting it.
Deu stun essa porra?
It can be really strong.
Ah, dá stun ainda por cima.
Paying attention, or if you catch multiple people with
porque sim, né?
The CC. Like I remember having just like the experiences Clumsy described, I remember having experiences in playtesting where I tried to use it in a one-on-one scenario, missed or got beads, and the other hunter punished me for it by killing me. And I also remember coming around a corner in a jungle and hitting like 3 enemies on the team because they all had their beads down and swinging a whole team fight.
Right, exactly.
It's very akin to Scylla, and also it's just very important for us to show her Maw, the monster, in its truest full-size large form where it's
esse bagulho eu fico puto. Os bonecos novos tem muita coisa, tá ligado?
You know that moment right at the end of the cinematic where the
se liga. Você pode escolher você jogar de Chibalanque ou com a Charybdis. Você vai muito com a Charybdis. Quem que vai escolher o Chibalanque pra dela? Ela tem a 1 melhor que a 1 do Chibalanque, tem a 2 melhor que a do Chibalanque, tem a 3 que é melhor que a do Chibalanque e tem a última melhor que o Chibalanque. Tá ligado? Meu Deus do céu, cara.
So, super duper awesome. Was there anything else that y'all want to see in game?
For me,
we have to additional animations, waves, claps, emotes.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Taunts,
recall. We have mastery skins as well.
But gameplay-wise, I think we covered pretty much everything.
Awesome. Well, then let's check out the mastery colors. Let's look at that.
Vamos ver de maestria.
Thank you, Pawn, for driving.
Essa é recolor. Uma recolor.
Yeah. That guy is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy.
Even in this color, he's scary.
Yeah.
Da hora o monstrão ficar colorido também.
Those of y'all who might not have noticed, but the eye colors are different. So there's a normal eye color, and then the eye color that matches with the eyes of the maw. So to kind of show, you know, that half is corrupted or cursed by the maw. So just another really cool thing that they added. It's so
Ela tem homofobia nos olhos.
We also have that gem on her shoulder is swirling like a
Aquela recolor limitada agora.
You can see it here in the card
This
out
one's
here.
super cool too.
A nod to her
I love the
whirlpool
different recolors.
history.
So absolutely beautiful. I love the green, like the contrast between the orange hair and the green cloak. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like Ajax was just saying, the gem on the side with the whirlpool is.
Achei fraca.
Like,
Não, os números não parecem estar absurdos.
A lot of details to bring.
Acho que ela vai ser um gosto de ok, vai ser bom. Não vai ser roubado, eu acho. Eu acho, né? Eu espero. Assine ele no fundo.
So, like, she wears.
Olha que da hora a maestria dela. A lendária vai ser pica, hein? A lendária vai ser pica, hein?
So good. She really is rocking this color. Like, she's so regal looking. She wears these.
Não, olha isso, velho.
Contrast there.
Caralho.
One of my favorite masteries is this color scheme. It looks
Que
great.
doido.
On every other god.
It really does. The maw looks so like.
I have Diamond Fafnir and I still play Legendary Fafnir instead because I just love the Black Dragon. Like.
Isso é diamante?
Oh, but I don't know though.
Não, esse é padrão. Essa é padrão.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No
we went back to
diamond.
default. They psyched this out for a second, thinking of going in order.
True.
Cadê o diamante?
Players mentioned that Charybdis' default kind of has a little bit of a mastery color, but I think we've shown that the masteries feel very different from this default. And in the diamond, you would see the diamond, the maw would be very bright white. His teeth.
Ah, não vai mostrar diamante. F.
Acho que o Xhito não viu a mesma apresentação que eu, pra falar que tá ok.
Copy pasted over the wrong video or overwrote the wrong one, but we could definitely. Those will all be available in PTS for you to take a look at.
PTS sexta-feira, vou entrar, hein?
The art team and the tech team, animation team.
Eu vou entrar na sexta-feira pra ver.
No easy feat. Like doing the maw and the girl, it's almost like doing two gods at once. It is a huge task for our team to come up with something like this and to make it work. And the amount of scaling it has, size, which is just, you know, part of its power is it can change size. It's not a common thing for sea creatures to be able to do. You know, inflate and deflate themselves. That's what the maw can do as well. And just the team working around that, working around the cloak, how they hide away.
Acabou, né? Não tem nada mais pra te ver. Né? Ok, então, né? Caralho, mano. Essa Charybdis ficou, tipo, muito doido, velho. What the fuck? Gente, eu vou ver agora no site deles lá. Os números bonitinhos, beleza? Passar aquele AD. E vamos lá ver os bagulho. Cara, tem muita gente na live. Tem mais de 500 cabeças na live. Se juntar com o YouTube, tem 750 pessoas. Tem quase 1000 pessoas me assistindo. Que porra é essa? Cadê? O que eu ia fazer mesmo? Aqui. Não é isso aqui não. É isso aqui. Cadê? Vamos ver os números aqui dessa pequena. Ela ganha 10 mais 0,75 por nível. Então ela ganha 25% de attack speed, só com a passiva. Os itens dela tem menos dano, o item aqui de proc, de básico. Ok, 20% de attack speed na passiva, ok, nada demais. A 1 dela é um básico e o Splinter seria o dano que reflete, 30 mais 10%. Vamos usar o Xhitoman como base para comparação aqui. Aqui o dele tira 50 de dano. Não tem scaling. Eu tenho scaling. Ah, não, do Xhitoman que o básico reflete, ele tira 35% do básico do ataque básico normal. Ok, tem alguma skill que é parecida com isso? Agora tá me ligando, um segundo. A pessoa me liga e até ninguém aparece. Tá. A 2 dela dá slow? 40% de slow? 40% de slow? Really mesmo? Tá porra, viado. E você tira 40% de defesa do cara. 40%. E se você tiver aqui tira 85% do seu poder físico mais 30%. Então essa skill tem 115% de scaling. 12 segundos de cooldown. É curta, né? Pelo menos.
Equilibrado.
O dano é por tique. O dano por tique é aumentado quando você amplifica. E tira 200. Mais 65%. 20 mais 40. Cooldown longo, 15 segundos. E a ult? A ult tem 170% de scaling. E 880 de dano base. Qual ADC tem uma ult com muito dano? Sei lá, Medusa. Cadê a Medusa? 700 mais 100%. 880 mais 170%. Mano. Tá, a ult dela, sozinha, bate mais do que a ult da Medusa de frente. Mais que a da Isa. Não, a do Anro bate mais ainda. Eu acho, né? E ela... Um detalhe, ela dá esse dano tudo e reseta. Deixa eu ver do Kiron. 930 mais 120. Tá, a do Kiron bate mais do que a dela.
Focado em básicos.
Tá, mas detalhe, isso aqui reseta. Isso aqui reseta. E dá stun de 1 segundo, 1,3 segundos. Isso aqui eles vão ter que tirar isso aqui, ó. O stun. Não tem por que ter stun nessa skill. Não tem que ter stun nessa skill, velho. Tá. Skins, evento, baú. Recola, maestria. Odisseia. Evento do calendário. Baú da Odisseia. Sakura Chest. Ah, esse aqui é de Odisseia, mano. Pelo amor de Deus. Isso aqui é segredo, ó. Isso aqui é segredinho, viu? Aqui estão as datas. Dia 10 chega o Coach de Midnight e o Space Crusader Chest. E dia 24 chega os novos negócios. Ok. Arrumar um bagulho. Tá. Isso aqui vai ficar pra fazer um vídeo depois. Aí vai voltar a Justa Antiga, arrumaram os itens, arrumaram mais item inicial, arrumaram ativo. Não, ativo não teve mudança, teve? Só o Sander que foi nerfado. Bufaram o Jomungand, bufaram a Belona. Ok. Mano, foi um petzão isso daqui. E do caralho do Cthulhu? Mano, ficou louco a skill do Cthulhu. Meu Deus do céu, velho. Caralho, mano. Tá, esse boneco aqui me deixou um pouco, sabe, catapimbas. Esse boneco tá muito potente. Eu achei que tava balanceado os números, até eu ver essas porcentagens aqui e essa porcentagem aqui. Isso aqui de slow, isso aqui de edição de proteção. Meu Deus do céu, cara. Tá, não tem mais nada aqui, né?